The night had started like any other. The house was quiet, the street empty, and the lights dimmed low. But inside, chaos was about to erupt. He had no idea that the life he knew, the family he trusted, and the love he thought was sacred would be shattered in an instant. It all happened so fast. One knock on the door, one sound from upstairs, and everything changed. He crept silently up the stairs, heart pounding in his chest. Something felt off, too quiet, too still. As he reached the top of the staircase, his worst nightmare came to life before his eyes. There in the bedroom were the two people he never imagined he'd catch together. His brother, lying beside the woman he was supposed to marry. His fiancée, the woman he had planned to spend his life with, was tangled in a moment of betrayal. Every heartbeat in that room seemed deafening, echoing like a warning he could no longer ignore. Shock froze him in place. The world around him blurred, time itself bending under the weight of what he was seeing. He could feel every emotion crashing over him at once. Disbelief, anger, hurt, and a growing sense of betrayal so deep it burned like fire in his chest. He wanted to scream, to lash out, to demand answers, but even the simplest of words seemed useless. How could someone he trusted so deeply, his own blood, betray him in this way? And the woman he loved, how could she throw away everything they had planned together in a single reckless act? As the seconds stretched into eternity, he backed away, trying to control the whirlwind of emotions inside him. But what he didn't realize was that stepping back wouldn't keep him safe. Every choice from here on out would change his life forever. The tension in the room was unbearable, and he knew that one wrong move, one single reaction, could ignite a confrontation that no one could predict. At that moment, he made a decision, but the consequences of that split-second choice were beyond anything he could imagine. This was no longer just a personal betrayal. It was a situation that would shock investigators, friends, and family alike. Secrets would be uncovered, lies would surface, and in a matter of minutes, everything he had believed about loyalty, love, and family would be turned upside down. But here's the thing. You don't want to miss what happens next, because the events that followed this moment of betrayal were so twisted, so unpredictable, that even law enforcement struggled to comprehend them. By the end of this story, you'll understand just how quickly trust can be shattered, and how one night of chaos can change lives forever. So stay with us till the end of the video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more shocking true crime stories, and share this video to see how far betrayal can go. What happened next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about family, loyalty, and love.
Welcome to True Crime Diaries Vault, the place where every file tells a story, and every story pulls you deeper into the unknown. Here, we unlock real-life mysteries, revisit chilling investigations, and open the vault on crimes that still haunt families, detectives, and entire communities. Every episode takes you inside the minds of criminals, the footsteps of victims, and the evidence that changes everything. If you crave true stories, real cases, and the truth hidden in the shadows, then you're in the right place. This is not just another crime channel. This is True Crime Diaries Vault, where every secret eventually comes to light. Subscribe and step into the vault.
It was a quiet night in the small town of Oak Ridge, a place where everyone thought they knew everyone else. But Marcus had no idea that his life, and the trust he had placed in his family, was about to be shattered in the most unimaginable way. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt that something was wrong? That's exactly how Marcus felt that night. The tension in the air was almost tangible, like the calm before a storm. And in that moment, every second seemed to stretch, each heartbeat louder than the last. He had come home earlier than expected, wanting to surprise his fiancée, Vanessa, with dinner. They had plans, promises, and dreams that were supposed to last a lifetime. But what he found was nothing short of a nightmare. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. The bedroom door was ajar, the lights dim, and from the faint glow, he saw a movement that froze him in place. There was no hesitation, no preparation for what would come next. And in a single instant, Marcus realized the unthinkable. His own brother Darius was lying with Vanessa. Everything he had trusted, everything he believed in, was crumbling before his very eyes. Can you imagine the shock? Pause for a moment. What would you do if you found yourself in that situation? Marcus's first instinct was disbelief. Surely, there had to be an explanation. But the scene before him was undeniable, brutal in its clarity. He could feel the blood drain from his face, the sudden tightness in his chest, the cold panic that made him momentarily numb. And yet in that paralysis, something deeper stirred, an instinctual need to witness the truth. He needed to know the full extent of the betrayal. He inched closer, careful not to make a sound, trying to process the impossible. His mind raced with questions. How long had this been going on? Did she ever love him? Could he ever trust his brother again? And more importantly, what was going to happen next? As Marcus stepped fully into the doorway, Darius noticed him. For a fraction of a second, everything seemed suspended in time. Darius froze, the casual confidence of someone caught off guard replaced by panic. Vanessa turned too, her expression a mix of guilt, fear, and a desperate plea that Marcus didn't want to see. The room felt impossibly small, the tension almost suffocating. Marcus's thoughts swirled, anger, betrayal, disbelief. But beneath it all was an unrelenting curiosity. What would his next move be? And here's where it gets even more complicated. Marcus wasn't just anyone walking into this room. He was someone who had learned to control his impulses, to analyze before reacting. But Evie felt the fire of rage rising, threatening to consume every rational thought. He took a step back, pressing his hands against the doorframe, trying to steady himself. Every choice in the next few seconds would set the tone for what happened next. What would you do if you were in Marcus's shoes? Confront him immediately, or walk away and plan your next move? Before he could decide, Vanessa broke the silence. Her voice was trembling, a mix of apology and explanation, though her words barely registered through Marcus's storm of emotions. Marcus, I didn't mean for this to happen, she whispered. The room seemed to shrink further, the weight of betrayal pressing down on him from every direction. Darius opened his mouth, trying to explain, but no words could justify what just occurred. The scene had escalated beyond words, beyond logic, beyond any kind of normal response. And Marcus knew one thing for certain. The investigators, if they were ever called to witness this, would be shocked by what unfolded next. Marcus's mind was racing. He considered confronting Darius physically, but he knew that would only make the situation worse. Instead, he did something unexpected. He backed out of the room slowly, his eyes never leaving the two figures before him. Every step was deliberate, every movement calculated, because in that moment, Marcus realized that the next hours, the next decisions, would define the rest of his life. Would he call the police? Would he involve family members? Or would he take matters into his own hands? And here's where the suspense escalates. As Marcus walked down the hall, he heard the soft click of his bedroom door opening behind him. He turned just in time to see Darius following, a look of desperation and fear etched on his face. The confrontation was inevitable, and as they stood there, the tension between the two brothers was palpable. Marcus could feel the years of shared memories, of trust and betrayal, clashing in a single instant. Have you ever felt a betrayal so deep that it reshaped your perception of everyone you loved? That's exactly what Marcus was experiencing. But the story doesn't end there. Marcus knew that if he reacted impulsively, if he allowed anger to dictate his actions, the consequences could be catastrophic. Instead, he made a choice that surprised even him. He decided to gather evidence, to document everything before making any accusations. Every text message, every sign of the affair, every detail he could find would later become crucial, not just for understanding betrayal, but for what happened next, something that would shock investigators beyond comprehension. As the night unfolded, Marcus watched, waited, and recorded. He asked questions, not out loud, but in his own mind. How long had this been happening? Why did Vanessa risk everything? Why would Darius betray his own brother? And with every answer he pieced together, the story became darker, more complicated, more impossible to ignore. And here's the critical question for you, watching this now. What would you do if the person you trusted most betrayed you in the worst way imaginable? By now, Marcus had pieced together enough evidence to confront them, but even then, he hesitated. He wanted the truth, but he also feared what revealing it might trigger. The air was thick with tension, each second stretching longer than the last. And then, just when he thought he had control, Vanessa did something unexpected. She tried to speak, but Marcus held up his hand. In that moment, he realized that nothing in this situation would follow the rules of logic or reason. Everything was about to explode, and investigators, when they finally arrived, would be stunned at the chain of events that unfolded. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. If betrayal happened in your family, would you handle it calmly, or would emotion take over? Marcus made a choice that night, one that would set off a chain reaction no one could predict it. And as you watch the story unfold, pay attention to every detail, the hesitation, the glances, the unspoken words, because they all lead to the shocking moment investigators would later describe as unbelievable. Before we continue, remember to hit that like button, subscribe for more shocking true crime stories, and share this video with someone who loves suspense. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The betrayal, the confrontation, and the aftermath are just beginning. And what Marcus did next changed everything. Marcus didn't speak. He couldn't. Words felt too heavy, too sharp, like blades that would only make this wound deeper. He stayed frozen at the doorway for a moment longer, trying to gather himself, trying to understand how someone he'd grown up with, shared holidays and secrets with, could betray him so utterly. And Vanessa, what about her? How could the person he loved, the person he had envisioned a life with, cross that line so completely? Have you ever been blindsided by someone you trusted? Pause for a moment and think about that. Because that feeling, that raw disbelief, is exactly what Marcus felt. He decided to leave the room before emotion got the better of him. Each step down the hallway felt heavy, like the floor itself was resisting his movement. His mind raced with scenarios, possibilities, and the consequences of each choice. Should he call someone immediately? Should he confront Darius here and now? Or should he wait, observe, and ensure he had evidence to protect himself? Sometimes, the most dangerous decisions are the ones you make in silence. By the time Marcus reached the living room, he was shaking, not visibly, but internally, every nerve ending on edge. He sank onto the couch, trying to force his breathing into control, but he couldn't. He replayed what he'd seen over and over, like a haunting reel in his mind. And that's when a question hit him. Had there been other signs? Small moments he ignored? Messages he didn't read closely? Hints hidden in plain sight that now made sense? Pieces of a puzzle he never wanted complete. Can you imagine that realization? How would you react if everything you trusted suddenly revealed a dark truth? Marcus reached for his phone. He needed clarity, needed proof, needed something to make sense of the chaos. He scrolled through their messages, texts he had ignored before, conversations he hadn't paid enough attention to. And then it hit him. A thread of messages between Darius and Vanessa, subtle at first, growing more intimate over months. Every single line felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just a single mistake. This had been going on, and the depth of the betrayal left Marcus wondering. How could someone live with themselves, knowing the hurt they were causing? Meanwhile, upstairs, Darius and Vanessa didn't move. They sat on the edge of the bed, wrapped in their own shock. Darius whispered something she barely heard, his voice trembling. Vanessa tried to defend herself, explain herself, but Marcus's silence was louder than any argument they could muster. And the question now hanging in the room, though unspoken, was impossible to ignore. What happens when betrayal is witnessed by someone who loves both of you? Marcus's hands were trembling as he dialed a number. Not 911. Not yet, but a close friend who could help him think clearly. He didn't want impulsive actions. Didn't want rage to cloud judgment. I don't know what to do, he whispered into the phone, though he didn't want anyone else to hear the raw emotion in his voice. Can you relate to that moment? The split second where your whole world is upside down, and you're searching for guidance. Someone to tell you the right move, and then came the knock, soft, tentative, almost afraid. Marcus looked up and realized Darius had followed him into the living room. He stopped mid-step, unsure how to react. His mind raced with possibilities. Should he confront him verbally, ignore him, or make a move that would forever change their relationship? Pause and think. What would you do if your brother, the same one you grew up with, followed you silently into a room after betraying you? Darius swallowed hard. Marcus, he stopped, unsure what to say. The words felt insufficient, meaningless against the weight of what had happened. Marcus didn't respond immediately. Instead, he asked the question everyone watching this video is now asking themselves. Why, Darius? Why betray me like this? The answer didn't come easily, and even if it had, it wouldn't have eased the pain. Instead, it sparked a conversation of tension, hesitation, and raw honesty. Marcus asked questions, everyone designed to probe, to reveal the truth. Was it just one time, or has this been happening for months? Did you ever think about how this would affect me? Was she really worth it? Each question landed like a stone thrown into still water, sending ripples across the fragile atmosphere of the room. Vanessa, sitting silently, tried to speak again. Marcus, I didn't mean for this to happen. But Marcus held up his hand. He needed answers, not excuses. Every moment counted. Every reaction would define the next chapter of this story. And viewers watching right now, what would you do if you were in Marcus's position? Listening to words that try to justify betrayal but can never undo it? And then the shock escalated further. Marcus noticed a detail that froze him in his tracks. A series of hidden messages and social media interactions that neither Darius nor Vanessa had anticipated. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It had been planned, calculated, and sustained over time. The investigators, if they had walked into the scene, would have been stunned. The complexity of the deceit, the emotional manipulation, and the audacity of it all was something few could comprehend. Marcus realized that to truly protect himself, to ensure he had the upper hand, he needed more than just confrontation. He needed evidence. He needed clarity. So he began documenting. Screenshots, recordings, detailed notes of every conversation, every hesitation, every glance exchanged between Darius and Vanessa. Each piece of information felt like a double-edged sword. Painful to see, but necessary for the moment when truth would demand acknowledgement. But even as he documented everything, another thought struck him. What if he shared this evidence with the wrong person? What if emotions spiraled out of control? Could the betrayal lead to violence, public exposure, or even ruin the fragile bonds of their family? Marcus paused, taking a deep breath, and realized that sometimes the most dangerous part of a situation is not the act itself, but what happens next. And that, dear viewers, is exactly what would shock everyone who later got involved. Friends, neighbors, and eventually investigators. By now, the tension had escalated to a point where silence was deafening. Marcus, Darius, and Vanessa existed in a charged bubble of fear, anger, and raw emotion. Questions hung heavy in the air. Could trust ever be rebuilt? Would Marcus confront the fiancée directly? Would Darius show true remorse, or simply continue to justify his actions? And what about Vanessa? Was this the end of her relationship with Marcus, or the beginning of a twisted sequence of events that would spiral further out of control? Pause for a moment and reflect. What would you do if your entire world shifted in a single instant? If the person you trusted most turned against you in the most personal way possible? Marcus's story isn't just about betrayal. It's about the choices that follow, the moral dilemmas, and the consequences of acting or waiting. And here's a promise. If you stay with this video until the end, you'll see actions that no one expected, twists that even investigators could hardly believe, and a conclusion that leaves you questioning the very nature of trust and family. As Marcus prepared for the confrontation that was about to define the rest of his life, he did one more thing. He turned to the camera, if only in his mind, and addressed a silent audience. You're about to see how far betrayal can go, how quickly love can turn to anger, and how one night can change everything. Don't click away. Watch closely, because the next steps will shock everyone. So, take a deep breath, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story, because what happens next is a part of the story that investigators described as unbelievable, chilling, and impossible to foresee. Marcus's decisions that night would ignite a chain reaction no one could predict it, and the full story is just beginning. Marcus sat in the dimly lit living room, the weight of what he had just witnessed pressing on him like a physical force. Every nerve in his body was on edge. He could still feel the betrayal clawing at his chest, but he knew that reactionary anger could make everything worse. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you confront them immediately or wait and gather your evidence? Marcus chose the latter, hoping clarity would bring him a plan that didn't spiral out of control. He went back upstairs slowly, phone in hand, recording everything in his mind. Every glance, every tremble, every hesitation was a piece of the puzzle he would use later. Darius and Vanessa didn't see him at first, their attention consumed with their own guilt and fear. Marcus's heart pounded as he positioned himself silently, watching the two people he had loved most in his life reveal themselves in ways he never thought possible. Vanessa tried to explain again, her words rushed and uneven. Marcus, it's not what it seems. But Marcus couldn't let her speak yet. He needed to know everything, and he knew that the truth wasn't just spoken. It was found in their actions, their reactions, and their hesitations. Can you imagine a moment like that, where words feel hollow, and only actions reveal the depth of betrayal? Darius finally spoke, his voice shaking. Marcus, I messed up. I didn't think. The sentence trailed off. Marcus, eyes narrowed, stopped him. "Did you think at all?" he asked, voice low but deadly calm. The tension in the room was suffocating. This wasn't just a conversation. It was a test of morality, trust, and the boundaries of family. How would you react if your brother, someone you trusted all your life, betrayed you in such a personal, intimate way? For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the creaking of the house, the shallow breathing, and the distant hum of the street outside broke the silence. Marcus made his next move. He forced Darius to sit, to explain in full, from the very beginning. Every message, every lie, every calculated decision had to be revealed. And as Darius spoke, Marcus listened, analyzing each word, noting every inconsistency. Viewers, at this point, you might be asking yourself, could you forgive? Could you ever trust someone again after this? Vanessa, tears running down her cheeks, tried to justify herself. "I didn't plan it this way. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Marcus's mind raced. Did she really feel remorse? Or was this just another attempt to manipulate him? Trust had been broken in ways that could never be repaired instantly. Every question Marcus asked was met with hesitation. Every hesitation building the story's tension further. By now, Marcus had pieced together the timeline. The affair had been ongoing for months, carefully concealed, hidden behind lies, texts, and innocent smiles. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. This wasn't just betrayal. It was deception, methodical and chilling. And in that moment, he realized what investigators later described as the most shocking part: the depth of planning, the audacity of betrayal, and emotional manipulation were beyond comprehension. Marcus took a step back and thought strategically. If he reacted impulsively, violence could erupt. If he waited too long, evidence could disappear. What choice would you make in a situation like this? Pause and consider it. This was not a simple heartbreak. It was a battle of ethics, trust, and control. He decided to document everything. Every confession, every hesitation, every tear, every detail mattered. This would not only protect him, but would also ensure the truth could never be denied. In the shadows of that night, he realized that the real shock wasn't what had happened. It was what he was about to do next. Marcus confronted Darius about the full scale of betrayal, the hidden messages, the intentional encounters, the carefully planned lies. The confrontation escalated quickly. Emotions boiled over. Yelling, accusations, tears, and sobs filled the room. And then, in the chaos, Vanessa made a move that no one expected. She tried to flee, panicked, but Marcus intercepted her, forcing her to face the reality of her choices. Have you ever seen someone cornered by the truth they try to hide? It's raw, unfiltered, and terrifying. Neighbors called later, drawn by the shouting. By the time they arrived, the scene was calm but tense. Marcus had maintained control, documenting everything, keeping emotions in check just enough to prevent total chaos. Investigators arriving later would later say that the restraint he showed that night was astonishing. No one expected such a composed response in the middle of an emotional hurricane. The aftermath was brutal. Family members were called. Secrets spilled. Confrontations erupted. And the ripple effect of the betrayal spread further than Marcus could have imagined. Friends, shocked at the depth of deceit, began taking sides. Social media whispers and neighborhood gossip amplified the story. How often do we underestimate the destructive power of betrayal within a family? Here it was on full display. As the night wore on, Marcus realized that he had a choice: forgive, confront, or distance himself entirely. Each option carried consequences, some immediate, some long-term. He confronted Vanessa and Darius separately, ensuring each understood the full gravity of their actions. And here's the critical point. The investigators, when reviewing the evidence, noted Marcus's methodical approach, his calm collection of proof, and his ability to navigate the emotional chaos with precision. Marcus ultimately decided to cut ties with Vanessa. The trust could never be rebuilt. Darius, meanwhile, was confronted with the full evidence and had to face his own conscience. The impact on their family was profound, reshaping relationships, forcing reevaluation of loyalty, and testing bonds that once seemed unbreakable. And as viewers, you might ask yourself, if you were Marcus, could you have acted differently? Could forgiveness exist, or is some betrayal simply unforgivable? As Marcus prepared for the confrontation that was about to define the rest of his life, he did one more thing. He turned to the camera, if only in his mind, and addressed a silent audience. You're about to see how far betrayal can go, how quickly love can turn to anger, and how one night can change everything. Don't click away. Watch closely, because the next steps will shock everyone. So, take a deep breath, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story, because what happens next is a part of the story that investigators described as unbelievable, chilling, and impossible to foresee. Marcus's decisions that night would ignite a chain reaction no one could have predicted, and the full story is just beginning. Marcus sat in the dimly lit living room, the weight of what he'd just witnessed pressing on him like a physical force. Every nerve in his body was on edge. He could still feel the betrayal clawing at his chest, but he knew that reactionary anger could make everything worse. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you confront them immediately or wait and gather your evidence? Marcus chose the latter, hoping clarity would bring him a plan that didn't spiral out of control. He went back upstairs slowly, phone in hand, recording everything in his mind. Every glance, every tremble, every hesitation was a piece of the puzzle he would use later. Darius and Vanessa didn't see him at first, their attention consumed with their own guilt and fear. Marcus's heart pounded as he positioned himself silently, watching the two people he had loved most in his life reveal themselves in ways he never thought possible. Vanessa tried to explain again, her words rushed and uneven. Marcus, it's not what it seems. But Marcus couldn't let her speak yet. He needed to know everything, and he knew that the truth wasn't just spoken. It was found in their actions, their reactions, and their hesitations. Can you imagine a moment like that, where words feel hollow and only actions reveal the depth of betrayal? Darius finally spoke, his voice shaking. Marcus, I messed up. I didn't think. The sentence trailed off. Marcus, eyes narrowed, stopped him. Did you think at all? He asked, voice low but deadly calm. The tension in the room was suffocating. This wasn't just a conversation. It was a test of morality, trust, and the boundaries of family. How would you react if your brother, someone you trusted all your life, betrayed you in such a personal, intimate way? For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the creaking of the house, the shallow breathing, and the distant hum of the street outside broke the silence. Marcus made his next move. He forced Darius to sit, to explain in full from the very beginning. Every message, every lie, every calculated decision had to be revealed. And as Darius spoke, Marcus listened, analyzing each word, noting every inconsistency. Viewers, at this point, you might be asking yourself, could you forgive? Could you ever trust someone again after this? Vanessa, tears running down her cheeks, tried to justify herself. I didn't plan it this way. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Marcus's mind raced. Did she really feel remorse? Or was this just another attempt to manipulate him? Trust had been broken in ways that could never be repaired instantly. Every question Marcus asked was met with hesitation. Every hesitation building the story's tension further. By now, Marcus had pieced together the timeline. The affair had been ongoing for months, carefully concealed, hidden behind lies, texts, and innocent smiles. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. This wasn't just betrayal. It was deception, methodical and chilling. And in that moment, he realized what investigators later described as the most shocking part. The depth of planning, the audacity of betrayal, and emotional manipulation were beyond comprehension. Marcus took a step back and thought strategically. If he reacted impulsively, violence could erupt. If he waited too long, evidence could disappear. What choice would you make in a situation like this? Pause and consider it. This was not a simple heartbreak. It was a battle of ethics, trust, and control. He decided to document everything. Every confession, every hesitation, every tear, every detail mattered. This would not only protect him, but would also ensure the truth could never be denied. In the shadows of that night, he realized that the real shock wasn't what had happened. It was what he was about to do next. Marcus confronted Darius about the full scale of betrayal. The hidden messages, the intentional encounters, the carefully planned lies. The confrontation escalated quickly. Emotions boiled over. Yelling accusation, tears, and sobs filled the room. And then, in the chaos, Vanessa made a move that no one expected. She tried to flee, panicked, but Marcus intercepted her, forcing her to face the reality of her choices. Have you ever seen someone cornered by the truth they try to hide? It's raw, unfiltered, and terrifying. Neighbors called later, drawn by the shouting. By the time they arrived, the scene was calm but tense. Marcus had maintained control, documenting everything, keeping emotions in check just enough to prevent total chaos. Investigators arriving later would later say that the restraint he showed that night was astonishing. No one expected such composed response in the middle of an emotional hurricane. The aftermath was brutal. Family members were called, secrets spilled, confrontations erupted, and the ripple effect of betrayal spread further than Marcus could have imagined. Friends, shocked at the depth of deceit, began taking sides. Social media whispers and neighborhood gossip amplified the story. How often do we underestimate the destructive power of betrayal within a family? Here it was on full display. As the night wore on, Marcus realized that he had a choice: forgive, confront, or distance himself entirely. Each option carried consequences, some immediate, some long-term. He confronted Vanessa and Darius separately, ensuring each understood the full gravity of their actions. And here's the critical point. The investigators, when reviewing the evidence, noted Marcus's methodical approach, his calm collection of proof, and his ability to navigate the emotional chaos with precision. Marcus ultimately decided to cut ties with Vanessa. The trust could never be rebuilt. Darius, meanwhile, was confronted with the full evidence and had to face his own conscience. The impact on their family was profound, reshaping relationships, forcing reevaluation of loyalty, and testing bonds that once seemed unbreakable. And as viewers, you might ask yourself, if you were Marcus, could you have acted differently? Could forgiveness exist, or is some betrayal simply unforgivable? In the weeks that followed, Marcus documented everything, compiled proof, and prepared himself for any potential fallout. The investigators who later reviewed the case described it as one of the most shocking family betrayals they had ever encountered. Nothing about the situation was ordinary. Every decision Marcus made, every cautious step, ensured that the truth would prevail while minimizing physical or emotional harm. By the end of it all, Marcus emerged stronger, though scarred. The betrayal had left deep emotional wounds, but his calm, calculated responses allowed him to maintain dignity, control, and a clear path forward. Vanessa's actions had consequences she could not avoid. Darius learned a painful lesson about loyalty and trust. And Marcus, though shaken, gained a deeper understanding of human behavior, manipulation, and the fragile nature of love and family. And here's the final question for you watching this. What would you do if someone you trusted most betrayed you in the most personal, intimate way imaginable? Could you maintain composure like Marcus, or would emotion take over? Think about that as the story closes. Before we end, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if it shocked you, because stories like this remind us of how unpredictable life can be, and how one night, one moment, can change everything forever.